Right then, final part of my interview with Gillian Bush-Bailey. She was Billy in Here Come the Double Deckers, and once she'd done that, she moved on to some other TV series, and she started to talk about Follyfoot. Now, that's where we started our classic TV on Tuesday afternoon here on the programme, and I wondered what life was like on Follyfoot, and wasn't expecting the answer that I got.
I must put my hands up and say I really didn't enjoy my time on Follyfoot. It was quite an ordeal for me in lots of different ways. I went in and did various episodes, so I didn't actually feel really part of the whole company in the way that I think Steve and Gillian and Christian Rodsker, they were all part of the company. And I kind of went in and out and did episodes here and there. And there was one episode that I did, I can't remember the title of it now, but Michael Apted directed that. And it was an episode, it kind of was giving Gillian Blake a bit of a week off. So I had a lot to do, and I loved it. I had a great time with it. And I think it was actually entered as one of the episodes that won the Italia Prix for Follyfoot. Probably somebody will turn around and go, no, it was not. But anyway, I remember Mike Apted coming up to me sometime when I was doing, much later, when I went on, I was doing Poldark for the BBC. I played Ginny Carter in the first series of Poldark, and Mike came up to me and said, oh, did you know that we won an award? And I said, oh, no, nobody told me that. So it's very strange. So I didn't feel part of it in the same way, I think, as I did with Double Deckers, where I was very much part of the company and at the centre of what we were doing.
When did you make the decision that you were going to step away from acting then? At what point? Was there a moment that you woke up one morning and thought, you know what, I want to move away from this now?
Well, I think this is a familiar experience for many actresses. For women, you get to a certain age, somewhere between your 30s and 40s. I was about 30, and the work just dried up. I didn't know why. You kind of think, what am I doing? Is it me? But somehow it just stops, and there are less parts for women. I mean, you can look at anything and see that there are many, many, many less parts for women than there are for men on TV and in theatre, and that, unfortunately, that inequality is still there. So I was beginning to get smaller and smaller and smaller parts, and I was beginning to get bored with it. I'd had some great parts. I'd been very, very fortunate from when I was 12, really through to when I was about 27, and I worked pretty constantly. And I had some really interesting work to do on stage as well as on telly. And by the 30, it was just drying up. And I remember I did an episode of The Bill. I went in and I thought I was rehearsing. They went, thank you very much, next. And I thought, oh, right, OK, done that. And then I did a Lovejoy, a tiny episode in that. And I just thought, I'm not enjoying this anymore. And I actually also became more and more nervous. As the parts got smaller, I became more nervous about the work. And I just thought, why am I putting myself through this, really? And I'd started script reading. I'd got very interested in script reading for theatres. And I'd also been doing some script reading for Channel 4 and for London Weekend Television. And I thought, actually, what I need is a degree, and then maybe I'll be a script editor. So I went off and did a degree. Tried to get into script editing, but simply couldn't. I wrote loads and loads of letters. I think I even had an interview to be a script editor for BBC in Northern Ireland, which I was quite grateful I didn't get, because I didn't really want to move to Northern Ireland. And then, really, the university asked me to go back and do a bit of teaching, and somebody said, you really should do a PhD, and I thought, oh, OK. So that was what... So doors opened, but it was a big moment. The moment of saying, I'm not an actress anymore was quite scary. Because if I'm not an actress, then what am I? I had been an actress since I was 12. So it was it was quite a strange experience and a long decision. It wasn't something made very swiftly. But having done it, I was very pleased, and of course found within the university life that certain performance skills you use in lecturing, in seminars, in trying to keep students interested.
Acting is just one of those strange professions, though, that let's say that you'd worked in a supermarket, that I wouldn't say, we wouldn't do this interview and say, well, so you started shelf stacking, and then when you've done shelf stacking, you moved to the tills. And then what was it like when you were working on the tills? And tell me a story about being on the tills. Acting is one of those things that forever, in some people's minds, even with this interview today, you are that 13, 14, 15-year-old in the double deckers. You will forever be that person. Do you ever think about that?
Well, I didn't. And in fact, I used to find it quite embarrassing at times if people say, "Oh, were you Billy in the double?" Yes, I was in there. But gradually, and I guess that's as I get older, you realise that you have got a place in somebody's memory, the memory of their childhood, and that's quite precious and very humbling, actually, because some of the work that I did meant something to people. And I've had, quite recently, and in terms of this research project I'm currently involved in about the performing child, I've been very touched by some letters I've had because of the wonders of the internet. People find you. And I've had emails from a guy in the States who told me a long story about how important Double Deckers was for him when he was going through quite a difficult time in his childhood. But it became a point at which he returned to, and a sense of the friendship that we all had as a gang gave him hope for something that he might have when he was going through a difficult time at school. And I found that very moving. And to think that we had created something that was on one level just a load of fun, on another level for me was really quite hard work. I was very conscientious. I always learnt my lines. I always made sure that I knew the dances, I knew the songs. And yet actually it had another level of meaning for people who were watching it that I couldn't possibly have anticipated.